I'm back with another update because we are still on the Osun drama. Davido, Okpebholo, Wike, Rufai and Ayo, because another thing has just happened, and this time it connects everyone at once. Davido, who is Governor Adeleke's own nephew and campaigned for him, has responded to Okpebholo and is refusing to back down, even with people like Aliko Dangote and the Senate president reportedly calling him to delete his tweets. At the same time, Wike is saying federal might had nothing to do with Osun's outcome, and Rufai isn't having it. He says if that is true, then what exactly explains the billions allegedly spent to buy votes? 4 people, 1 election, very different versions of what actually happened. So let's go through it properly. Let's start with Davido, since this is where the pressure began. Listen to what he's actually refusing to apologize for.
I heard the Senate president was trying to call the coalition center. And that's like my godfather after you. He was calling me. They were calling me to delete. I said, sir, sorry, you guys have literally just gone against my uncle. Like, you know what I'm saying? You guys have seen this man. I can't delete anything. My uncle Aliko called me to delete. I said, uncle, I'm only deleting until I make an announcement.
You guys didn't only give hope to people in Osun. You guys gave hope to the whole Nigeria. Because if this had gone the other way, I think Nigeria would have actually given up on what they call free and fair election.
I'm not going to apologize. I didn't do anything wrong. I was just letting people of the state the results their governor has. You understand? You left your state, came to another state to Rigo. First came to Rig, then you come in and then you start talking that my uncle is a dancer, he's not serious. The road to your government house is not done. My uncle is not serious. First of all, you were not even elected. You were selected. You didn't win those votes, sir. Finish your 3 years. We'll visit you when it's time for you to get re-elected.
So that is Davido standing firm, even with reportedly big names like Dangote and the Senate president pushing him to take the tweet down. And remember, this isn't a random celebrity wading into politics. Adeleke is his uncle. He campaigned for him directly. So when he refuses to apologize to Okpebholo and said what he had to say, this isn't detached commentary, it is family stakes. Now here's where it connects to the bigger argument, because the reason people are so invested in what Davido said is the same reason Wike and Rufai are arguing. It all comes back to one question: was this election actually free and fair, or wasn't it? Listen to how Wike frames the word help here.
I'm sure that if the president wanted to win Osun at all costs, I would be involved. And I would have been there. And the governor would have known that it would have been different. Election is not one day. Election is not one day. Election is a process. You can't just get up in the morning to go and win the election. President is a politician now. So people should not, when they say effort of federal government, what do you see to show that federal government is seriously interested to win this? If colleagues, governors, as of a party, think that by going there, we have a form of influence, it is to the people. I didn't see anything that anybody would tell the federal government did. Do you know what you're talking about? If federal government carried influence, do you not see 2019 influence in the Rivers State election? Where you saw federal might, where the military were fully involved, where women came out naked, carrying their breasts, showing the soldiers, look at our breasts, you won't do anything here today. That's what they say. When you see might, military might, federal might, where you see where military base was turned to a collection center. Then when you talk about federal might.
So Wike, the FCT minister, is saying federal might wasn't used in Osun and that APC would have won if he had chosen to help. Here is my honest question for you. Is that an innocent comment about political effort, or is he accidentally admitting that federal might exist and he simply chose not to deploy it this time? Kindly drop your honest take in the comments. Now, like I said earlier, Rufai wasn't convinced either. Listen to what he says next, because he doesn't just disagree, he points to something specific.
Minister Wike, question. You see, when people tell stories, they tell the part that suits them. With the federal might he claimed they used against him in 2019, who won the election? He should say that part. Did he not win the election? When he was up against the wall and he claimed, we have federal might. Did he not win the election? So does it not mean that people can win federal might? That's exactly what happened in Osun State. And you see all of this narrative that they are trying to change. You see, like I said yesterday and easy, there's something called stages of grief. The first stage is denial. The second stage is anger. It's when you now pass denial and anger. you will now be going to acceptance stage. They have not accepted the defeat yet. It's stages of grief. The first stage of grief they are passing through is the denial. The denial is, we didn't use federal might. If we wanted to win, we would have used federal might. He's denying. They are denying the fact that the federal might failed. So they are using narrative to gaslight people that, there's no way we could have lost. It's the federal might. We didn't use the federal might. Federal might that they boldly used everywhere that we saw. So they are denying that they didn't use the federal might because they used the federal might and it failed. So it's a first stage of grief, denial. They don't want to accept. They can't fathom that with the over 110 billion as alleged by Davido and all the calling to bring down his tweets that they did and all the influence that they did, that it failed. So they cannot accept that Ojutowo 50,000. They cannot accept that Ojuti influence. They cannot accept that with the fact that the IREF stopped uploading for 5 hours. They cannot accept that with the fact that they've not ensured that local governments released all this while. Yes. They cannot accept that with all that they did, that the people stood tall and they won. So that denial is still there. So when they are in their stage of grief called denial, then they gaslight people because they can't accept how the federal might failed.
That is the real crack in Wike's statement, and according to Rufai, if federal might genuinely wasn't involved, what explains the billions allegedly spent on vote buying? You can't say there was no interference and then have that much money reportedly moving on the ground at the same time. And according to Rufai, those two things don't add up. Well, it wasn't only Rufai that reacted. This is what Ayo said.
Talk about Davido's interview.
Yes.
And, earlier on, when we were talking about the winners and losers based on the piece by This Day newspaper, just detailing, of course, Davido was one of the winners listed. And in my notes, I'd actually put, I didn't say it earlier, that I believe that in the spirit of sportsmanship, like Dr. Mati had said earlier, it should be magnanimous in victory. However, it should also be an opportunity for truth-telling. Even though he said he didn't delete tweets, he did delete some tweets. He deleted tweets about President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and tweets about the APC, based on what his uncle, the governor, said was a phone call saying that they were going to support Tinubu. So it's still a game of politics at the end of the day. But did he play a critical role? Absolutely. I do feel that based on this, they'll be showing him, tongue-in-cheek, they'll be showing Sheyi Tinubu, see your mate, see what he did in Osun State. This is what a son of the house, a young man of the house who can mobilize young people can do. And so, Sheyi Tinubu has a huge task ahead of him based on what Davido has done. But some of the statements he made, giving kudos to the young people in Osun State, absolutely. Earlier on, I said the biggest winners, and which wasn't identified in this day list, are the Osun State people, especially the young people and women. And these are usually groups that come out during elections alone and do not even bring in their bargaining power because of the influence they wield during election season. And so this is a rallying call just to double down on what Davido, who has shown himself as the leader of the youths in Osun State, that the elections in 2027 could very well be decided by you, young people in Nigeria. You already hold the ace in your hands because you make up the highest number in terms of PVCs collected, registered voters, and the population of Nigeria. Also, the future belongs to you. And so you cannot just sit down on Twitter, on X, on social media and complain alone. It is time for you to put your words into action. I've heard many of them saying, I'm not coming out for the elections, I'm not interested, but you have to be interested in the elections. This is your future. And so I'm hoping that what Osun State has demonstrated, like Davido had mentioned, would be a boost to them to come out and have confidence in the process again.
So here's what I want to know from you. Do you think Davido has a right to stay firm, even with pressure from people like Aliko Dangote and the Senate President? And on Wike's comments, innocent or a slip that reveals more than he meant to say? Drop your honest take below. I read every single one and I'm going to reply to as many as possible. Davido refusing to back down for his uncle. Wike defending how the election was won, and Rufai pushing back on both the statements and the money trail behind it. Same election, different angles. Like I do say, no bias judges the facts and the clips laid out plainly. If this helped you connect the dots, subscribe because I do this daily and I don't want you to miss any updates. I will see you in my next video.